Flashdance is a 1983 romantic drama dance film.
Burn all the bases.
Starring Jennifer Beals as a passionate young dancer who aspires to become a professional ballerina, alongside Michael Nouri, who plays her boyfriend and the owner of the steel mill where she works by day. In that hub of ballet, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Directed by Adrian Lynn with a screenplay by Tom Headley. This 1983 film, which is yet another film in which we will discuss what does and perhaps does not make a black film, was the choice of Lynn Webb. Lynn Webb, what is your feeling about Flashdance?
Well, I have so many feelings about Flashdance.
Do you feel music now?
I don't feel music.
Are you going to take your passion and make it happen?
I don't know. I'm keeping my passion right here.
When I was a kid, I thought the lyrics were "Take your pants down and make it happen."
No, you didn't.
Swear to God. Swear to God. I thought the lyric was "Take your pants down and make it happen." Swear to God.
You were a little boy. You were a little boy. No, because I knew exactly what it was about. Yeah, well, we're talking about this movie in the scope of, is it a black film? And we'll touch on whether that question. But let's talk about the film itself.
Absolutely.
Flashdance, written by Thomas Hadley and Joe Esterhaus. Remember those names, especially Joe Esterhaus. Directed by Adrian Lynn. Remember that name.
Okay.
And remember the time in which this movie is made. It's made in 1983. And 83 is the time of Let's Get Physical.
Yeah.
Olivia Newton-John's big hit from 1981 to 1982. Jane Fonda is big on the exercise circuit. People are exercising left and right, and people have on their leg warmers. And dancing is becoming like this craze, this exercise craze.
Sure.
And at the same time that you have all of this going on, you also have the rise of music videos.
Well, it's percolating.
And it's percolating at the same time. And with the rise of music video and the rise of any type of visual breakthrough, it almost always starts centering around, interesting enough, women and their bodies.
Sure.
And their bodies just being, and finding ways to just really accentuate their bodies as much as you can. And into that enters Joe Esterhaus, the writer, and Adrian Lynn, the director, who, for those who don't, the name may be not familiar to you, Adrian Lynn is famous for this type of film. Okay. For these highly stylized, some overtly, some loosely sexual innuendo films.
What else has he made besides this?
He's made Flashdance. He's made 9.5 Weeks. He made Fatal Attraction, Indecent Proposal, remade Lolita.
Yeah.
Which and Unfaithful. And Joe Esterhaus, the writer of this, is famous for writing films that are set in this world, this world of not so much the dancing world, but the world of women performing for the pleasure of men.
Mm-hmm.
He writes Flashdance. He more famously writes Showgirls.
Okay.
Which is set in the world of strippers, and it's a cult film, to say the least. But Flashdance is where it all begins.
Mm-hmm.
And at its heart, Flashdance, for the most part, is an innocent enough story.
Mm-hmm.
Young girl who seemingly doesn't have any parents. We don't hear anything that happened to her parents.
No.
We don't know what happened to her parents. She seems to have taken up residence in a warehouse. Works at a steel mill, just turning on machines. We don't see exactly what she's doing.
No, she's welding.
Well, she's welding, but we're not given any. Okay, she's a welder.
Yeah, I think it's important to note she has an actual skill.
Well, okay, she has a job.
When's the last time you welded something? Okay. Let me answer for you. Never.
Okay, but is welding necessarily a skill or something that you can be taught?
Yeah, no. I mean, anything is anything you can be taught.
So she has a job.
But my point is, she is welding.
Okay,
this is not something that people just
she's welding.
Show up and.
Okay, she's welding.
Okay, all right.
She doesn't have any parents.
All right.
She took occupation of a warehouse.
Yeah,
she's a welder.
She's a welder.
She dances at night. And dances, not dancing in 2023 as we've known dance, like quote unquote, oh, she dancing. Like, no, she dances.
Yes, she
literally just, for the most part, dances.
Yeah.
She maybe slightly scantily clad, okay. But she's dancing. She's not a stripper.
No.
She's dancing at a bar called Malby's in this blue-collar town of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Malby's, which is a blue-collar bar.
Yeah.
We're meant to believe.
Absolutely.
We're meant to believe that this is pretty much a bar where they make burgers and they have this huge dance stage.
Yes, they do.
Where a host of women, at least 10 women, perform these elaborate dance routines with strobe lights, costuming.
It's like Moulin Rouge.
It's Moulin Rouge in Pittsburgh. Circa 1983.
1983, yes. Absolutely.
What world have we stepped into? That the welders can't wait to break time so they can go to Malby's and sit and watch the women dance.
Right. Put on, like you said, put on these elaborate productions.
Put on these elaborate productions that, I mean, and ladies and gentlemen, these are elaborate productions. There is a woman that dresses in a kabuki mask and a suit.
Kabuki business lady who likes television.
Yes. And has like strobe lights all over the place. There's a woman that has a baseball mask and she's beating on a black brick wall and doing backflips. And into this world, we have young 18-year-old Jennifer Beals.
Alex.
Who? No parents. Occupies an entire warehouse, not just a floor in the warehouse. The entire warehouse is her house.
That's what she says.
This is where I live.
This is where I live.
This is me. Dances at night. 18-year-old, we're led to believe, if not the youngest, one of the youngest of the women. But she's the voice of reason for everybody.
Yeah.
And she has dreams of becoming a ballet star.
Right. Ballerina. Sure. Want to be a ballerina.
She has a mentor, an old elderly lady named Hannah. Miss Hannah. Who was at one time a ballerina.
Yes.
And who believes that she can make it. Now, who is Miss Hannah to young Alex?
We don't know.
Some old lady.
She just an old white lady.
She just go walk up in the old white lady house.
And she takes her to the ballet periodically.
Periodically, she goes about. That's what we know.
Yeah.
That's what we know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But this young 18-year-old in Pittsburgh is so captivating that 40-year-old, to be fair, 36-year-old Michael Nouri returned to his hometown after a bitter divorce and taking over ownership of the steel mill.
Yeah. Ownership of the steel mill. That's right.
Walks in and sees young Alex do her famous flash dance.
Yes.
And her flash dance is her dancing to the beat of the night.
Mm-hmm. She's a maniac.
She's a maniac on the floor, ladies and gentlemen, and then straddles herself on a chair, yanks a chain, and is splashed.
Yes.
Down with water, doused.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Drenched.
Yeah.
In the wetness of all these men's desire.
Yeah. Now, is it like just is it like a wet t-shirt contest situation happening? Or is she wearing like an actual? She's wearing like a bathing suit.
It's a bathing suit.
And a dress. Like it's not even a wet t-shirt.
Not even a wet t-shirt. Just
pour some water on me.
Just pour some water on me.
Right. That's not in the soundtrack, but it could have been.
It should have been.
Yeah.
And mind you, these men are watching the dance. They're not giving them any money.
Well, it's not a strip club.
It's not a strip club. Okay, but look, even a drag show is not a strip club.
No.
But they pass the hat.
Well, look.
There's no hat passing.
Look, I don't know the what's the name of the place?
Malby's.
I don't know the economics of Malby's.
We don't know the economics, but we know the demographic. It's all the welders.
Right, it's 50-year-old.
It's 50-year-old welders.
Worker dudes.
Just sitting there watching all these.
It's like Bob Hoskins.
A young Robert Wall is in there. He's like,
right. It's like
it's Arliss
like
all of a sudden.
Russell at the end of the Thing.
It's like it might as well be the people from the Thing.
Yeah.
If they came to Pittsburgh, they would go to Malby's.
Right.
That's who was in Malby's.
Right. I sure do like this modern dance production, which is a metaphor of late era capitalism and the way that multimedia goes into our brains, and we are all slaves to it. And the use of kabuki makeup is a symbol of how Japanese products have taken over the American economy.
Yeah, the Industrial Revolution was a bitch.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense. No sense. But now young Michael Nouri, him of the curly afro.
Curly afro.
Is taken in by Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, he can't get enough of Alex. Can't get enough of her. So much so that he's talking to his young guy there. It's like, man, who's she? And dude says, you don't know who that is? And then to show young Michael Nouri that Alex is actually one of his workers at the steel mill, he doesn't tell him, oh, she works at the steel mill. No, he proceeds to tell him her whole social security number.
Sure.
That's 171553301.
Yeah.
You should know she worked for you.
Yeah, that is an actual line from an actual script.
He's like, that's her phone number. That's her social security number.
Which I just happen to have memorized. This is not a detail of the plot that will be commented nor followed up on at all.
Like, whoa.
Does he know her social security number?
Because it is a bar of sketchy dudes. That's why, including 36-year-old Michael Nouri, who was getting the vapors off of 18-year-old Jennifer Beals.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude. Now, yes, it was a different time, 1983.
People ate veal.
I recognize that. I do recognize. And you know why I recognize that? Is because watching this today reminded me of one of my favorite shows of all time, Hill Street Blues.
Sure.
But in doing a rewatch of Hill Street Blues over the pandemic, I realized there was a storyline that was extremely icky in that show that everybody totally glossed over because it was the times. And that was this older dude, older desk sergeant, and I mean older, he was like in his 50s, who was romancing, breaking up, getting back with, and marrying a 15-year-old.
Yikes.
Whose parents were with it. They were at the wedding. Everybody, it's never, ever commented on about how old she is.
Right.
Ever. It's celebrated in it.
Look, man.
It was a different time.
1983.
1983. That's all I can say.
Right.
So we have to dispel belief.
Sure.
From the top.
Sure.
So in watching this movie, I'm like, okay, well, it's a little romance. And it's a movie that really doesn't even care about the story. No. This story it's the bare bones upon which these music video interludes can be cut in, where they can do close-ups of everybody's Jennifer Beals' body, the other dancer's body, or
her body doubles,
or her multiple body doubles bodies.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that in a second. And that's really what this movie is about.
Sure.
And if you were a dancer or an aspiring dancer at this time, this is a movie that you rallied around. This is a movie that spoke to you.
Absolutely.
You know, maybe not as much as, say, movies such as like Fame at the time, but it still did speak to you. It spoke to, you know, what...
Look, follow your dreams.
What you could do. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And it is really about, at the end of the day, it's a Rocky story. You know, she's the little trepidations about trying out to become a ballerina. Is she going to go for it?
Of course.
Of course she is. Is she going to make it?
Of course.
Of course she is. Are there going to be she's going to deal with a little bit of setbacks? Very little, but yes.
Yeah.
And then and by little, I mean she gets with Michael Nouri, then she thinks that he's cheating on her, finds out he's not cheating on her. So she gets back with him. He does her a favor. She doesn't like it, but then eats the crow, accepts the favor, and it's a happy ending. That's basically what happens in this movie.
Sure.
In between, she has a best friend that wants to be an ice skater whose father doesn't really want her to be an ice skater, but he sees her skating and he comes around to, oh my God, she's so talented, she's so beautiful, and he roots for his daughter. There's a comedian that wants to be a comedian who should not be a comedian. He should stay to flipping burgers, but he wants to be a comedian. He's going for his dream. He's going out to California.
Sure.
God bless him. There's a guy who runs a strip club who wants to get Alex in his strip club. Manhandles her a little bit, but ultimately Michael Nouri comes to the rescue, and that plot quickly peters out. It doesn't go anywhere. The writers and the directors don't have any care about any story. And like I said, it's all just something to hang over.
It's not this movie.
It's all about the the music and the images. And Adrian Lin, as a director, is a man that's about images. And he does know how to point a camera in a certain way and accentuate not only just a woman's body, but he knows how to set a scene. There are some scenes that are very evocative, that, you know, some of the montages of Jennifer Beals and Michael Norrie's characters, they fall in love. You know, they're cute enough. They're well orchestrated, but it's at the end of the day, this is a movie that I just really couldn't understand, and it's all about Jennifer Beals. This is
yes,
her
100%.
Her coming out party.
She's 100%.
Alex is 18 years old, and Jennifer Beal is also 18 years old. Jennifer Beal was a student at Yale who did some modeling, who was talked into going to an audition, and lo and behold, she got the role. Yeah, that's more or less what happened. And she took on a role, and for that, she's not bad. She's an 18-year-old girl. You know what I mean? I'm not going to knock her. She comes across as an 18-year-old woman. Jennifer Beal, let's, you know, bury the lead, is a beautiful woman. Oh, yeah. So you can completely see why someone would be attracted to her. Absolutely. So that tracks. She's likable enough in the film, but the film doesn't just wants to get her from set piece to set piece to set piece. Sure. And it has the trappings of giving her a character. You know, she's a dancer, she's a welder. You're not given any idea of how did she get the welding job? Why does she weld? How did she get to Pittsburgh? Where are her parents? Who does she live with? How did she become in this warehouse? Why is she a dancer? Why is she scared about going out to become a ballerina? Who is Hannah? How did she meet Hannah? Why is she the voice of reason? Grunt is her dog. Where'd she get a dog, Grunt? So many questions, and they're never answered. The movie does not care at all about her. It just wants to get her from one set piece to another set piece. It wants to show her, you know, taking off her bra underneath her sweatshirt, which is a famous scene. They want to show her at dinner, taking off her dinner jacket, showing that she just has on her collar, bow tie, and the cuffs. Famous scene. They want to show the Flashdance, of course, which is a famous scene. They want to show her dancing at the audition, which is a famous scene. However, those last two famous scenes, that's not Jennifer Beals, ladies and gentlemen, because Jennifer Beals, famously, as she admits, is not a dancer. No. She's an actress. She's not a dancer. So those scenes are all with a body double. Not one, not two. 3 body doubles. There's a body double that does the dancing. Yes. There's a body double that does the backflips. And then there's a body double who we all know and love here on the Micheaux Mission by the name of Crazy Legs. Yes, sir. That's right. Crazy Legs of the Rocksteady crew. That's right. Your man, Crazy Legs of the Rocksteady crew, who plays Alex when she break dances at the audition. That is Crazy Legs in a wig and a tutu doing the break dancing. And you can tell because it's like at least the other two stunt doubles are women. But like when you see her doing the backspin, he actually has biceps. Yes. Like it is clearly a man. Yes. In a leotard spinning on his back. Either that or Alex is turning into She-Hulk as she backspins. As she backspins. Because while the other body doubles are women, they are decidedly more chiseled than Jennifer Beals.
Yeah, because they're dancers.
And some might say taller than Jennifer Beals. All of a sudden,
because they're dancers.
She's got a little height on her. It's very interesting. And famously, at the time, none of the body doubles are credited. In the movie.
No.
Because they did not want to blow the illusion.
Sure.
That Jennifer Beals was not doing this actual dancing.
Sure.
And a lot of people, they were there for the hype. So it is whatever. So the movie is what it doesn't age well, but it still is very much what it is.
Sure.
But why it is here on the Micheaux Mission tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is because the question is this a black film? And it all begins and ends with Jennifer Beals.
Okay.
As you pointed out, is a woman of biracial descent.
Right.
An African-American father.
Yes.
And I believe an Irish Catholic mother.
Yeah, white.
Right. Hey, white. White.
Always kills me. Like all of a sudden it's 23andMe when we want to talk about the white parent. Well, my father's African American. My mother is of Scottish, Irish, Nordic, and Finlandish extraction. You mean white?
Yes. White.
Yes.
So which means that Jennifer Beals is biracial.
Is biracial.
Or some might say black.
Well, depending on, where you sit in that defining yourself and how that works.
I hear you. But I think the decision was made for us because in 1983, for her performance in Flashdance, she is awarded the NAACP award for Best Actress in a Film.
Sure. Now, but did she go out for that or because,
yes, they gave it to her.
There's a lot of us, we always just want to recruit people. And Jennifer Beals famously here, and we've talked about this on the show, plays my favorite Jennifer Beals role.
Devil in the Blue Dress.
A black woman, now I'm all paranoid. Well, shit, she's a black woman who's passing for white.
Yes.
In Devil in a Blue Dress.
Yes.
So,
Well, I think, but to your point, Jennifer Beals, who at 18 years old, you got to imagine, had zero agency in this movie.
Right.
So she is not making a call at all. And as you stated when we were introducing the film, she is in a role that is not coded black at all.
No.
Her race has absolutely nothing to do with her performance in this film. She could just as easily be Olivia Newton-John in this film. So the question then becomes, though, is it a black film if the lead is someone who biracial? The NAACP seems to want to put it in that bag, for whatever reason.
Sure.
For the Micheaux Mission, does it fit that criteria? What have you to say of Flashdance?
I mean, it's much like you. It's a bananas film. I think the thing about the direction and the speed of the direction is that it moves so fast because it doesn't want you to really think about it.
Yeah.
Because if you think about this film for longer than 15 seconds, it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Nope.
As we've talked about this Alex character, and the reason I kind of wanted to underline this, you don't just become a welder. This is an actual skilled profession.
True.
She is 18 years old. When the hell did she learn how to become a welder? What we know about her, she's from Altoona.
Yes.
This is all from the movie. She's from Altoona. She is 18 years old. She is a welder at this, because, the other thing is, when we talked about the character says to Michael Nouri, oh, you don't know who she is. And it's like, well, why don't you know who she, like you have a crew of 30 dudes, 29 of them are 50-year-old men. And then there's the one 18-year-old girl.
Yeah.
You've never noticed the 18-year-old girl up there with the welding tools?
Well, at least in the movie's defense, he just got back.
He just got there. And I guess that never came up when they said, hey, what's going on at the factory? It's like, well, you know, it's 29. We got 29 50-year-old dudes who've been welding for 25 years. And, you know, we've got master welders and journeyman welders.
An apprentice.
And so got a couple of apprentices. Oh, and there's also an 18-year-old who's welding. She's got this warehouse. She has these aspirations to be a ballerina. She has never taken any dance lessons.
No.
Self-taught. As you mentioned, she has this relationship with this woman, Hannah. It's never explained what this relationship is. There's this weird bar that she dances at. All of it.
It's not weird. It's called Mawby's.
Much like you, though, all jokes aside, it does move. Mm-hmm. And I do think, you know, we talked about its connection to MTV. This is a film that famously kind of was part of the organic rise of music videos. And you very, like, you know, particularly around a song like Maniac, where it's her working out. Mm-hmm. And the whole sequence of the film is basically a music video.
Yep.
You talked about the final scene where she actually auditions and, you know, Irene Cara's famous What a Feeling.
Yeah.
It's a great scene. And it's a scene that has pretty much become the stock way that you show someone kind of going out for a role, kind of auditioning. Like, you know, it's got the desk with this kind of old, stodgy, kind of buttoned up white people. And then you come in and she does it. And it's a great scene.
It's well shot.
It's well shot.
You get to appreciate the full routine.
You absolutely do. Much like you, I think you 100% understand how Jennifer Beals wins this role out over other people that went out for it, including a young Demi Moore. Mm-hmm. She's a beautiful young girl. She really is. I think she has presence even at 18. Like you mentioned, her taking off that bra through her sweatshirt is such a sexy little moment.
Yeah.
And, you know, she plays it well.
Because she doesn't play it for sex.
She doesn't play it for sex. It's actually a nice scene because you see she's playing as a young person who doesn't actually get necessarily what she's doing. And Michael Nouri, who is, again, in his mid-30s, is trying to kind of play it off. Like, that's actually my favorite little scene in the movie between them.
Yeah, that's the only one there. There's a little bit of chemistry.
A little bit of chemistry. So, you know, I like Jennifer Beals. As far as it being a Black movie, you are 100% right that there's nothing about this film that this character is coded as Black. But I would also argue the film has her or creates this character in a way. She's not coded as white. Like, you listen to her talking, there are no relatives. Because, again, she's not related to Hannah. Or if she is related to Hannah, they don't talk about it.
No, Hannah is her mentor.
Her mentor. You don't see any of her family.
Nope. No pictures, nothing.
No, there are no pictures. There is nothing that says, I am white or I am Black. And you have to think that part of this is deliberate because of who Jennifer Beals is. Because she is, when she is on the screen with these other white people, ambiguous. Like, I think you look at her, and I'm thinking particularly of the scenes where she's with her, with the other dancers. Like you mentioned, she has a best friend who frankly has a better story than she does.
Yeah, Jeannie.
Jeannie is actually the one with the story.
Wants to be the skater.
But she's a little darker than Jeannie. You know, it's like, well, is she Italian? Is she Hispanic? Is she like, what is it? She's a little darker. You know, as you mentioned, Michael Nouri has a little bit of that going on as well.
Yeah, he's got some Moors in his family.
Right. So that it is ambiguous. And then, as we said, just biologically, she is biracial. But then you have to think, how does this work in this film? So you take her out and you put in someone like Rashida Jones, also biracial. Is it a black movie with Rashida Jones?
If we're saying it's a black movie with Jennifer Beals,
well, we're not necessarily saying that, because I think a lot of times, you know, genotype is a mess because we all are just genetically, but you know, we're talking phenotype. This is a visual medium, so we judge this by how it looks. You and I have talked before, you know, these Denzel Washington movies, these Will Smith movies, these movies, they're only black people in the movie, but they're these Eddie Murphy movies, you know, but he's the lead. Everything is revolving around him. It's a black movie. But these are people who are unambiguously black. So now you got somebody like Jennifer Beals in this movie we're talking about tonight. We bring in Rashida Jones. Also, I would argue is a bit ambiguous. But you know more about her background because her father is famous. You know, it's Quincy Jones. Okay, so now we take her out. Now we put in Tracy Ellis Ross.
Okay.
Is it now is it getting blacker? Or is it the same level of black?
It's probably the same level as Rashida.
See, okay, all right, let's take Tracy Ellis Ross out.
Okay.
And I put in Halle Berry.
It's black.
Is black.
Black.
But she's a biracial as well.
Yeah, but it's blacker.
But now but you see what...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know, is this a matter of, do we define these films by phenotype? Like they look what we would say is black. Unless there's something in the script, you know, oftentimes the way they signal these things is that they'll have a parent show up. And it'll be like, you know, Brock Peters will show up and say, hey, baby girl, let's go get some
waffles,
some sweet potato pie, which is something that we have because of our African-American heritage. And then you say, oh, okay. But a film like this,
it doesn't give you that.
Right.
It doesn't give you.
Right.
Okay, but there are films by, like you said, Denzel, Will Smith. I'm thinking of what's the one where he's in the Bone Collector? Is that the one when Denzel's in it's laid up? That doesn't have to be Denzel, but you would still say that that's a black film because it's Denzel in the lead.
Right.
So I think that I would still consider this a black film. Now, does the world at large consider it a black film? Probably not. But I would consider it a black film.
Now, what if, and I don't know this because, as you know, just a programming note, as y'all know, this was a last minute substitution. So we didn't have time to do the usual kind of look up things. And I've not seen any Jennifer Beals interviews or anything. I don't know. But for the sake of argument, what if Jennifer Beals and the way that she claims her identity, like some biracial people do, say, I don't see myself as black. I am biracial. I am multiracial. I am however people define themselves, which frankly, I think people should be able to define themselves the way they want to define themselves. If Jennifer Beals, again, I don't know, for the sake of argument, were to say, I am a biracial woman.
Which I do think I've read interviews that is more along the line.
Okay, well, I don't know. But if she says that, would you still call this a black film?
Yeah.
Okay.
She can, that's fine. That's fine. I would still call it a black film.
So you're in the business of recruiting people?
I guess so.
Okay. All right.
I want Jennifer Beals on our team. And I think she's more on our team.
Hey, man, look, like I said.
She's more on our side.
Look,
hey,
Vin Diesel's on that side.
look.
I think she's on our side.
I mean, I think these are all, you know, again, we're now.
I think that's the difference. There you go. There you go.
What?
Vin Diesel. A Vin Diesel movie.
And Vin Diesel has made a career out of playing these kind of ambiguous sort of, you know, even in the Fast and Furious movies, it's like a hodgepodge of people who have been who are cast.
This person's the brother,
his
this
relatives,
person's his mother. Yeah, you know, you don't know what
somehow
the
they got Rita Moreno hooked up into this nonsense. And,
yeah,
you know, so
yeah.
You know, I feel like people should be able to define themselves,
and that's fine. And he defines himself, and I think he more
right
as far as I see. Is
and I am not in the practice of recruiting people. Like if you look, you ain't black, you ain't black. Fine.
So you would not say that this is a black film?
I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would. Again, I think like in there we're out on the border.
Okay.
I think this exact same film with someone like, well, again, Halle Berry. I think Halle Berry is a perfect example.
Halle Berry in it doesn't make it a black film.
Oh, I think it is a black film of Halle Berry because Halle Berry has always said, "I'm a black woman."
Okay, it's because of how
film is a visual medium.
Okay,
and when you see Halle Berry, you very much see a black woman or someone who fits what many of us would see as a black, again, phenotype.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. Okay. But I guess my thing is that I've never looking at Jennifer Beals, I've always saw the ambiguity. I never saw white. I saw there's
I'm not necessarily
something.
saying it's a white film. Like I said, I think that's what's so interesting. Like I said, I don't think she's coded as white. Mm-hmm. Like in my mind, that's what makes this film, or part of what makes this film, besides just all the really bizarre shit going on in this film, but kind of makes it more interesting.
Well, you know what?
Than it really set out to be.
It's interesting. There was a review of the film at the time that said, no, I think it was Roger Ebert, who does not like
hated it.
Who hated the movie.
Famously hated Flashdance.
But I think he said that the problem is that the story behind the movie and Jennifer Beals' own story is more interesting than the story of Alex, the dancer.
Well, again, and I'll take something back. Because quite honestly, I don't think they thought about this script hard enough to make these kind of deliberate decisions.
No, I don't think so at all.
But I do think you have these moments in the film where it's about to make a statement about her past. Mm-hmm. And then it swerves and it doesn't. Like there's this exchange between her and Michael Nouri. He basically says, well, why are you here? Like, oh, well, I'm from Altoona. And it's like, okay, well, we'll hear a little bit about her past.
And we don't. Yeah, it just glosses over.
Don't.
Yeah.
This whole bit with Hannah, who is very much set up to be her grandmother. Like everything about this relationship, this is clearly her grandmother. But then it's not.
Right. Well, I'm fine with it not being a grandmother. It's just that we don't really get the connection outside of the ballerina.
And then, you do have the one black character in there.
Yeah, one of the dancers.
Right. One of the dancers is black, who her big thing, and I don't know if you noticed, but like when they first show her in the background in the dressing room, she's eating a banana.
I did notice.
And I said, ooh, I don't know. I feel like somebody should have caught that detail. And then her great line when one of the other girls is complaining about what's going on with her man trouble, she says, I sure am glad I'm not a honky. Well, there's a line of script.
Yeah.
And then
Joe Esterhaus, ladies and gentlemen, the writer of Showgirls.
Right. And I wanted the camera like pan around and see what Alex was going to say. Alex, what are your views? Re-honkydom.
She had nothing.
No. So, but I think you brought up like Vin Diesel. I do think there's this kind of fascinating vein of films that it forces you to say, what are your views on this? So.
And this is one of them?
I think this is one of them. I think this is one of them. I think it's, and it's also a fun film though. I enjoy Flashdance. I enjoy Flashdance.
It's harmless.
It's harmless.
That's what I will say. I'm not going to say I enjoyed it, but it was harmless.
It's zippy.
Yeah.
It's definitely zippy. Like I said, the thing keeps moving.
Would you recommend it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, sure. This is like, if Fame is too much, because I think Fame gets a little heavy.
It started, smelling itself a little bit.
Yeah, like this is lighter than Fame.
Well, yeah.
It's a lot lighter than it's zippy. I think Jennifer Beals, even though she is young, she's very young, and I think she becomes a better actor.
Oh, most
as
certainly.
Time goes on.
Most certainly. Famously,
but she has charisma. You kind of like, you 100% get it.
Mm-hmm. Famously, after this movie, she returns to school.
Yeah.
And finishes school. I think she only does one other movie while she's in school, and she only does that on her summer break.
Is that The Bride?
The Bride.
How'd you feel about The Bride?
I don't remember it.
I liked The Bride.
I don't remember. That's she plays basically the bride.
She plays the Bride of Frankenstein. And Sting plays Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah, I don't remember it. I'd have to see it again.
I used to like The Bride. Now, I don't know if The Bride is that good.
Sometimes movies.
I really enjoyed The Bride.
Yeah. Probably product of his time.
Yeah.
I think I would recommend Flashdance.
Sure.
It's harmless.
Sure.
It's a product of its time.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not look, it's probably the best thing that Adrian Lyne and Joe Esterhaus. Well, no, it's not the best thing, because I got a soft spot for 9.5 weeks.
You didn't say Basic Instinct. Did you say Basic in that list of movies? Mm-hmm. You don't like Basic Instinct?
No, I do like Basic Instinct. Yeah, okay, yes. But
come on, man. Basic Instinct is an actual movie.
That is a good movie. All right. But I would say Flashdance.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun. It's harmless.
But you say it's a black movie.
You know what? I say it's a black movie, but to be fair, and for the mission, I hear your argument against it being a black movie. And I also recognize that I honestly don't feel the world at large looks at this and sees a black film.
Sure, not at all.
So I'm fine with it not being considered a black movie. It will be okay.
I was like, look, man.
We'll be all right.
Look.
Jennifer's still with us.
Look.
We got her in the Book of Eli.
Look. I ain't trying to recruit nobody. Like we good. Team Black people is good. We're solid.
We are solid.